Really?
Turn
Yes.
into an
Are you ready
old
to go?
fucker like Ben, and
I don't see any questions there.
Turn into a fucker like me. What are you talking about?
you turn into an old fucker like you, man. It's all downhill.
Yeah, I'm not really that old. I'm just an old soul. You know what I mean? It's cool though. Chicks dig it.
I'm just old.
You're not that old.
And apparently, I look like somebody's jockey.
Well, that's true. You are kind of built for riding horses.
That was hilarious that she said that, dude.
Who said that to you, dude?
Taylor.
Taylor did.
Matt's
girl.
special lady friend just dropped that on you?
Yeah.
What'd you tell her she was built like? Did you start making
I didn't even know what to say. I was like, wow, really? She's like, well, it's true. It's like, God, it's harsh.
Jesus Christ. All right, guys. I don't normally do this, but I've seen a lot of talk online about Area 3. And I didn't go. And all of you guys did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to tell me about Area 3 and what are people talking about with this match? There's like a thread on, there's too many DQs. There's guys saying it's, I don't know, carnival match, all this shit. So Tim, you seem like you want to talk a little. Why don't you start off? I should point out, I shot that match like 7 years running.
Yeah.
And not much changed. I get the kind of the flavor of it.
Oh yeah. I think everybody here, maybe with the exception of Wanzik, has probably shot this match multiple times. And
well, for people who haven't shot it, like, why is there so much discussion about it?
There's Area 3 it's designed and constructed and organized by open shooters, and it tends to.
Well, that's sort of a judgmental comment. I like it.
It is, but it tends to favor. It's 14 stages. 10 of the 14 are going to be 32 round long field courses. There's going to be a lot of running.
Well, wait, isn't that more fun to have more shooting?
I don't know. I like field courses, but I don't like fucking 10 of them.
Okay.
It's so.
I don't think that's really that unusual for any match to be sort of field course heavy, though. For a USPSA match, that's kind of what we'd expect.
But the bays are big. There's a lot of running in between positions. They utilize all the space if they can. At the same time, there's a lot of kind of parlor tricks / gimmicks / kind of carnival game stuff. So a lot of like really wonky.
All right, so
start procedures and.
Hold on. So this is where I ask questions like, "What do you mean carnival stuff? What does that even mean?"
Oh gosh,
I think that's one of those things that when somebody says it, it's meant to be disparaging, but I'm not always really sure what they mean by it exactly.
Well, it's like multiple poppers in a row that activate multiple drop turners in a row. So there's, you've really got to be on top of like timing issues.
Why not just blow off the drop turners if you don't like it?
Because pretty much everything is considered a non-disappearing target.
What do you mean? Not pretty much everything. Like
no, everything is a non-disappearing target. But in order to make the target reappear so that you can engage it in case you missed it, you've got to run 10 plus yards to the other side of something to grab a rope and pull it another 5 yards behind you or in front of you to reactivate the target, to then go back to the shooting area to re-engage the targets.
That's something that I've seen at a lot of matches. Not a lot, not pulling a rope, but it's like, if you don't shoot this target that disappears, you do this thing that takes an absurdly long time. And then you can shoot the target that's disappeared. So it's not a disappearing target. And what that effectively means is you're just going to take missed penalties on that stuff. Does that sound fair?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, This year, obviously, was no exception. Lots of lots of things, from jumping in and out of tractor tires filled with sand in a 50-yard deep by 30-yard wide bay, and which I don't know. I don't know how practical that is in practical shooting to have to jump in.
Oh, now
2.5 foot tall tractor
making the
tires.
practicality argument.
I'm not. It's just there were, for me, I think my biggest concern was concerns with safety. There was a stage that had pool noodles with tennis balls tied to the bottoms of them, and
I saw the video of that. That looked interesting.
They were completely all the way down this corridor that you had to shoot both out of the left and the right sides. But all of your gun manipulation and all of your gun handling was done in a vast sea of pool noodles that are around your head. They're trying to knock your ear protection off. They're trying to knock your eye protection off. Once you went inside the corridor that had the pool noodles, I was pretty surprised that ROs themselves could even track a shooter once they went in there. So there were a few shooters that were DQ'd on that stage for like reaching their hand in front of themselves to try to move the pool noodles out of the way, and getting called for sweeping themselves with a gun. It just, I don't know. I think they could have done the same concept, maybe just putting those hanging pool noodles over the windows or ports that you were going to shoot through, not as you're trying to manipulate a course of fire with, basically completely blind.
I see.
That was a stage I didn't really like very well. And again, these are all my personal views. So there was another one. Me being a left-handed shooter, I know.
Yes, I heard you swearing a lot at that stage. I was there watching you shoot. I heard you going mad.
Me being a left-handed
What happened
shooter,
to the nicest guy in practical shooting?
the nicest guy, unfortunately, let his aggravation get to him and let the match director know how much it got to him. So I'm not proud of it, but it happened.
So tell me about this left-handed stage.
So, basically, it was a stage designed by a person that's
right-handed,
correct-handed, and of taller stature. And the start position had you holding a rope with your weak hand, which as a right-handed shooter is going to be your left hand, while you're stepping with 1 foot in the shooting box and 1 foot out, pulling this rope that is attached to a pulley system that's pulling a wall up out of the way, so you'll be able to engage targets strong hand only. Well, as a right-handed shooter, you've got plenty of room, or plenty of extra slack in the rope with your arm to be able to pull the rope as you step into the shooting box and pull the rope to you to then be able to engage the targets. As a left-handed shooter, I'm reaching across myself with the rope pulled completely tight and still not able to get my feet in the shooting box while having to draw underneath my support hand, which is holding the rope, and not sweep myself and be able to shoot in a position that just wasn't conducive to anything remotely on equal ground as somebody else. And it would have just been something that could have changed how those targets were.
Did you get an acknowledgement that was kind of fucked up?
Well, I got basically hey, I heard you didn't like my stage.
Well,
wherein I let him know how much I didn't like that stage, and that it was extremely unsafe, especially for left-handed shooters. And all I got in return was a and a nod, and then walked off, and I never spoke to said match director the rest of the weekend.
All right. So, Mr. Kim, what was your read on this match?
Well,
because I just love all the discussion online. So much fun.
I would say I shot a lot of major matches this year, and last year too. I've never shot a match like this so far. First, my initial thought was so gimmicky, and I shot pretty big matches and some matches that has more gimmicks, but I haven't shot a match that almost every stage there's something. This was the first match I've ever shot like that. And like Tim mentioned, there's some like dangerous stuff. I witnessed one guy getting DQ'd and getting hurt because there was a stage with the big tires that you have to jump up to, and then this guy was older, maybe over 50 or at least 60. He was over 60, and then he was trying to come out of the box after shooting, and then one of the foot got fumbled, and he basically got knocked out of the tire and landed with his shoulder, and the gun went over 180, and then it was very dangerous. And the noodle stage, I had to get a reshoot. And
wait, why?
Because there were the noodles, and then there was this one shooting port, not a port, but shooting area, and one noodle was outside of that port. And then Aro called me after I'm done shooting and say, "Hey, you got to reshoot." Why? There's one noodle sticking out of the port. And I shot really well in the first one. I maybe 4 Charlie or something, and then second one I shot Delta Mike on the last target, so it was upsetting a little bit. But I know one of the shooter got DQ'd because the RO said she swept herself, and also my friend bumped to open division because RO said, "Hey, your slide didn't go lock because this is 10 rounds unloaded start." But he said, "Oh, it didn't go lock, it didn't lock back, so I wrecked it." And Aro said, "No, I didn't see wrecking it." So he basically lost to that conversation. He couldn't prove that the gun, he didn't wreck. He wrecked it. So that was kind of weird.
Why not just show him the video?
Oh, he couldn't catch it because all noodles.
Matt's not paying attention, but Tim liked it.
Yeah, noodles covering everything. So. And another one, I was so bummed because this stage I shot, there was targets that are vague in terms of 180-degree line. So in walkthrough, I asked the RO, and then RO basically says, I don't want to tell you where the 180 line is for that target, but if your gun goes 180, you're gonna get DQ'd. And I was like,
okay.
I couldn't understand what he really meant, like what he trying to say. So I asked him 3 times. It's like, okay, I'm just
I've had
asking
that
your
same
opinion.
conversation with people. I don't understand that.
And then there was a scoring arrow next to him, and the scoring arrow says, "The shooters must know your own safety rule." And I just stopped.
That's
talking.
not what you were fucking asking.
I'd have been like, well, no shit. I know I'm not supposed to break 180. What I'm asking is where is the 180 in relation to what you're going to call me on and what you're not. I felt there was some vagueness to some of the ROs on this match as well.
Yes. So I changed my plan and didn't get DQ'd, but I heard somebody actually got DQ'd. So I was glad I changed my plan.
Mr. Matt.
I know what stage
is not that. Is this a fair characterization of the match? So
yes.
So lots of. Well,
no one mentioned the fucking roof stage where some dude fell off.
Oh no, I was
from like
ready
a 4-foot tall roof onto his side with a gun in his hand.
4 foot, my ass. The top of that roof was over 6 foot.
Well, it probably seems more like 6 foot when you're 4 foot tall.
Shut up.
But if I'm sorry. Well, all right. So
he took a hell of a spill with a loaded gun.
So some would say carnival, some would say gimmicky. I don't know. What was your read on that, Matt? Is that a fair characterization?
My read was I knew it would be like this going in.
Of course, it's like that all the time.
So I didn't really have that much hate for it. So
no, you don't hate it. I'm not asking if you did. So you were fine with it, Matt. Did you hated it, Tim?
Let's just say I've shot Area 3 since 2011, and This is the first time I can say without question I won't be back next year.
Damn, dude. What about you, Mr. Kim?
Oh,
I'm
well,
not asking
it
you to like
depends.
shit on the match or
Yeah.
whatever. Like Tim likes to do that stuff. That's Tim. That's his bag.
Well, I don't know if they change a little bit more, but for right now, there is no reason to go back for me because I don't. The match was not good representation of major match like nationals or world shoot. My training or the shooting style of other USPSA matches are not like that. So for me, there is no reason to go back and because I want to learn when I go to matches.
Yeah.
Well, there was also a moving target in this match too that did not present itself equally to every shooter. And
Yes, the rope.
in my opinion, a stage like that doesn't even belong in a level 2 or above match, let alone a freaking level
All right,
3.
Tim. Well, let me put this to you. I've shot that match a bunch. It's the same flavor sort of every year. And
Right.
I'm of mixed mind. I'm of mixed mind about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's like sometimes you like the sort of the gimmicks and the weird stuff, and sometimes you don't. You know, depending on what it is for a stage. I'll give you an example. I saw the footage of one stage this year where you carry like a barbell and have to use that to activate some shit. How heavy was that thing?
I'd say right around 20 pounds.
So you have to
Yeah.
carry it all the way through the stage. What is it? I don't know, 30 yards of running?
At least, yeah.
And then you have to use it to activate some stuff. It's a 32 round stage, and at the end of the stage, you must use the barbell to activate. That's about right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
when on the video, and I've shot, they had a stage 2. Last time I shot the match was 2015, and they had a stage that year with this medicine ball. It was the same thing. Like you had to use the medicine ball to activate something at the end of the stage. And what was interesting about watching the footage is the way that everybody handled it was just take the barbell, run all the way to the end of the stage, activate the shit, and then shoot the stage back to front.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
That's so. I mean, so to me, when I see that, like, I imagine the shooting challenge you were trying to create there is to have people shoot one-handed. That's what I imagine.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
if people aren't doing that, or if it's advantageous to not do that, then you kind of fucked up the design, in my opinion. If that's the shooting thing, because what they ended up doing was just adding, you run 30 yards with the barbell and then shoot. It
Right.
didn't.
So I looked at my first shot on
Change
that
anything.
stage, which was
What was
interesting.
it, like 7 seconds?
7.7
Yep.
on a 27-second stage.
So it drags down the hit factor and adds 7 seconds for like, you know, I mean, I guess
Nothing.
you do that, but so I look at that and that's a stage that probably missed the mark, but the one, but they have other stages where it's like they try something like that. It creates a really interesting shooting challenge. Were there any stages you felt that way about it, Tim?
I definitely.
Which one? Like
it's-
anything specifically? You're like, oh, they did this and it was interesting. I'll give you an example from a few years ago.
The rooftop stage for me, you know, granted, borderline dangerous if you fell off the back of that thing, and which, you know, Matt and I saw that exact same happen. I did like the fact that it was challenging. Like you had to shoot from a low port, you know, on this roof to climbing up to the top of the roof to climbing back down. I mean, it did present a challenge that I felt obviously was equal to everybody because it was the same footing for everybody. But yeah, it did.
You cannot say that was equal for everybody.
Well, no, it wasn't equal for everybody. Like I was not the type of person who was going to jump from 6 foot down in between the two rooftops to shoot the low ports in that stage because.
All right.
No.
Well, anyway, Tim, the kind of the question I want to put to you is, you see some stages that don't, like they clearly don't really work, or maybe the noodle thing this year was over the top or something. But I look at sort of most matches generally, and they seem so plain and so vanilla, and it's like it's going to be a bunch of 30-ish round stages with, you know, run here, run here, run here, run here, standing comfortably, more or less, shooting the targets. Nothing super far. It's just kind of like close and medium range targets. Put up some no shoots. Put up some hard cover. Maybe throw a swinger in there, and that's kind of what it is. They're sort of very plain looking. That's what I see at most matches. That 90% of the stages look like that. And then you see a match where they're doing interesting things, whether you like it or not. They're doing interesting stuff and they're taking risks. And I feel like a lot of the time you find the line between, it's like comedy, right? You find the line between sort of funny and inappropriate by crossing it. Mm-hmm. It's like on the stages, you find the line between interesting shooting challenge and carnival bullshit. You find the line by crossing it. You know what I mean?
Think if that were the case, I think they found the line and then some this year.
Well, but my point is, at least they're doing interesting things.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you that.
But that's not enough for you. You're like, fuck that. I'm not going back.
I thought there were some safety issues that didn't need to be, and they were very unnecessary, and it caused a significant number of the DQs of that match, too.
Yeah.
Just wasn't my favorite match. I guess, simply put, wasn't my favorite match.
I've always described that match as 85% hosing, which is one thing we didn't talk about. Like, typically the targets are very close range, right?
There were a few of those stages this year, of course.
85% is hosing, and then 15% of it's quite challenging, but usually maybe not in a way you're going to like. If that's fair to say.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Kim. You're not going to go. You wouldn't go back, and would you even give them props for trying something different?
Oh yeah, I would definitely go back if I think there's something good learning out of the match. You know what I mean?
What did you feel like you learned this year?
I don't know. Just be careful with the who resets the rope. Be careful with that, because I yanked it really hard. It didn't activate and just it slung out of my hands. So I had to run like 5-6 steps to get it back. And also, there's a video of other shooters. They pull the rope and it doesn't activate. They have to pull it a couple more times, kind of thing. So those kind of things are not fun for me. What I really enjoy when I shoot matches is when I face shooting challenges, especially like partial target with mixture of different distances. There were definitely, like you said, there's 15% of tough shots. They were challenging for me, but rest of the shots were just like a local match. So yeah, those gimmicky challenges, some gimmicky challenges were really good. I actually kind of like the rooftop one, and there was a stage with a boat with three heads sticking out, kind of like that. So those were really good.
That looks I saw the video. That looks super interesting.
And also the barbell stage, I kind of enjoyed it. It was pretty fair for somebody.
In the end, what was the point of the barbell?
Oh, it was just either you're gonna shoot and then
No, I understand that, but everybody ran with it, right?
Almost everybody.
Yeah. So what was the point of it?
Who's the fastest runner? And I was, I guess, in production division. I got long legs, so it was a good advantage for me. So I don't have any bad opinion about that stage. I won the stage. So.
Hey, if you win the stage, it's a good stage, I guess. Poppy Cakes, you got anything to add to that?
No.
You agree
I thought the drop turner stage was pretty interesting.
Tell me about the drop turner stage for people like me who didn't go to the match.
I thought it was one of the more normal stages.
Yeah,
it was.
Well, what was the drop turner stage? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Stage had 4 drop turners with 6 pieces of steel.
So
they were like sorted
on one side, or like
4 drop turners on the right, targets in between them, like a whole mess of stuff going on.
Was there any movement between this stuff?
No,
Nope.
he stood in one spot and did a standing load.
Oh my god. So by convention, one of the things they do at Area 3 is that any target that would normally be a disappearing target, like a drop turner, is not a disappearing target.
Yes,
Oh.
that's good.
Like they'll find a way that you could engage it somewhere, even though it is effectively disappearing. So here's my question for you, Matt. Would that stage have been better if they were disappearing targets?
Yes.
Why?
It would have been more options.
Yeah, because as it was, everybody in production, I imagine, more or less shot the same way.
Yep.
I assume so, yeah, but I didn't see too much video.
You basically that stage was split right down the middle to if you were a low cap division like production or single stack, you shot it one way, and if you were a high cap division, you just shot everything. Yeah, and that was it. There really wasn't a strategy to it other than maybe shooting a couple of poppers that activated a couple of drop turners and shooting those, and then going back and re-engaging other poppers that activated other drop turners after you've done a standing. So yeah, I agree with Matt. It kind of took the creativity out of like figuring out a good stage plan because you're just stuck kind of standing in the middle of the stage with steel to your left and targets to your right.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough of you whiners bitching about Area 3. Let's get on to a question. God, you guys. So easy to get you wound up. I was just amazed how much discussion there was online about that. That's the only reason I thought to ask.
They had a lot of DQs. They like doubled their DQs from last year also there.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, right? Or bad?
Means the
It's
ROs
bad.
are doing their job, right?
Yeah, I guess. I would go back to the match, but I don't know. It's about the timing for me. Look, it's got to be at a time when there's nothing else going on. Shit's busy right now for me. Anyway, let's get to. Well, I guess we have time for one question. Let's get to it. All right, this guy starts off complimenting Nick. Fuck that. All right, let's skip that part. All right, long story short, I'm stuck with really inconvenient access to a usable range. But I have a rule-limited, lane-oriented, 50-yard outdoor range just 5 minutes from home. No holsters, 1 second between shot rule. Oh my God. How can I make the best of a bad thing? I feel like we get questions like this a lot. But anyway, he says, here's what I do now. Groups, obviously. Generally set up 2 targets when I can at 15 and 25 yards. Since it doesn't seem worthwhile shooting close targets with no rapid fire, I shoot 5-shot strings at about half-second intervals. Nobody complains at that pace. Like, okay. He does recoil control, shooting at the berm, practicing calling the shot off sight movement, just shooting into the berm. He works on his grip to control the muzzle rise, acclimating to sight movement. Drill number 3, transitions. So he'll aim off to the side of the target and then sweep onto the target in his lane. Okay? He acclimates to different sight picture qualities.
That sounds dangerous.
He doesn't point it at the dude next to him, I don't think. I mean, maybe he does. I don't think so, though. I present from low ready and go bang using various levels of sight picture to validate his experience. Does shooting on the move. What the hell? He sits low and moves in and out of his box in different directions. Okay. Jesus. Advice is welcome. So what would you guys do in addition to this stuff, or would you do this stuff if you have to shoot at an outdoor range where you're limited to that much, I don't know, 1 shot a second, shooting down a lane?
That's
I would personally do a lot of transitions and messing around with the side focus, target focus kind of thing. So side focus, target focus can be experimented in many aspects, like draw, reload, and transition. So I would draw and then try
No,
to
he can't. He's not allowed to draw.
Oh, yeah. Presentation. So low ready draw, right? Low ready presentation. He can do that. So low ready to the target, and I would shoot maybe 25-yard target focus, 25-yard side focus, and comparing the results. And also, he can do transitions. Just don't shoot the first round, point at one target, and then as soon as you transition to the next target, you're going to shoot the shot.
He's already doing that.
Yes. But also over there, you can experiment with the target focus and side focus when he arrives to the target in different distances. And he gotta move.
He can't move.
To
Not allowed. Oh, he's got to move like his house to someplace better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be doing 1 shot a second into my face is what I would be doing at that range.
Or he should bring his wife and then just point at the same target. Your wife doesn't shoot, but he can shoot two shots within 1 second.
Oh my God!
Right?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. You gotta think.
Do 50-yard build drills.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It's like, why is he maxing it out at 25 yards?
Yeah, I was like, if you got a 50-yard range, I'd be
all
using the hell out of it.
If all you can do is shoot 50 yards, then there's nothing left to do but shoot 50 yards.
Exactly.
That'd be my thinking.
Well, I'm just curious if he's obviously going someplace else to like a different range or something to shoot matches. Has he maybe looked into getting a membership at whatever that range is that hosts a match and using it as practice?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's sort of cheating to tell this guy not to go to his own range, because that's what he's asking is how can he make the most out of it. Like, looking at this, my initial criticism is you ought to be shooting a lot further than 15 yards.
Yes.
It shouldn't be group like you want to shoot at a natural match pace, which is you shoot, the sights rise up, fall back down, you realign them, and you shoot again. And for me, if it's like 1 shot a second, that means 50 yards. You know, that means you got to push the target back there and maybe even try shooting one-handed at the 25-yard line. Another thing that would be okay too. He's gonna be kind of limited in what he can do, but like that's the stuff I would be focused on, is getting really good at hitting the center of the stuff. So when he gets to a proper range, he can practice shooting more quickly. Yeah. All right, anything to add to that, Mr. Hoppy Cakes?
Nope, nothing to add.
You fucker. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Kim, Mr. Heron, Mr. Hopkins, for coming on. Listeners, if you have a shooting question you want the answer to, or if you want Tim to shit all over your match, go to benseger.com, send me your question. If you get a group of guys together, we're going to do a GoFundMe to fly Tim to your match so he can tell you how bad it sucks. And then he's never coming back. We're going to send you on. We should send you to every area match next year. What do you think about that, Tim?
Let's do it.
Really? Like, we could do a GoFundMe and have Tim tell you how bad your match sucks?
Sure. Yeah.
What happened to you, man? You were nice a couple of years ago. You remember that? You remember when you were nice?
I am nice. No, I am nice.
You're a dickhead, man. You just took a shit all over somebody's match. They put a lot of time into that. And you don't even appreciate that they tried hard.
I do appreciate it.
You're like Sean Connery in The Rock.
Thank you, Area 3 guys.
You're like, losers whine about doing their best. That's what you're saying. Whatever. Kim's lost. He doesn't understand what I'm quoting.
I don't know.
It's time to kill this. Fucking you. We're going to show you some badass movies in France, Kim. I'm serious.
Movie?
You're going to be up on American pop culture before you know it.
Movies,
How's that sound? What?
Movies, you said?
Yeah, movies is how you learn pop culture.
Yeah.
That's important. Whatever.